If I don't look at it, it doesn't exist. This post can't bother me because I can't read. You know, that kind of bullshit?
Yeah, people can't read. That's extremely common within the VTuber scene. So, more than once, I have seen VTubers distance themselves from the VTuber community. By distancing themselves from the VTuber community, I largely mean from Twitter, where they're where they're trying to do their best to disassociate from the Twitter culture of VTubers. It has been bumpy. It has been wild, honestly. A lot of people have been saying things along the lines of VTubing was a lot more fun and wholesome last year. And largely, I think that's a product of VTubing becoming more mainstream. As it becomes more mainstream, it just kind of dilutes further and further. And then not only is it just the initial lovers of the genre of whatever, it is now normies are joining in. And with that comes a lot of conflicting opinions, conflicting tastes, and people tend to, a lot of people tend to air their dirty laundry in public because public figures and it's easy clicks. So a lot of this drama-centric engagement pushes away a lot of people. I know there's been at least one VTuber that has been on my stream that has disassociated from the VTuber community at large. Like, they're still using their model and stuff, but they don't really put VTuber in their bio or anything. They don't really broadly engage with a lot of VTuber culture war. But I had a video recommended to me by YouTube from a Zyla Gal. Why I left the VTuber community, a warning to new VTubers. Now, I have no idea who this person is, but I know more than one VTuber that seems to be doing the similar thing. I have no idea where she's going with this. Let's find out.
Oh, this is gonna be fucking interesting. I don't even fucking know what the hell I'm doing. This is a rant, okay? This is not some frickin' Sunny V2 bullshit, okay? Yo, I'm back to yell into the void of the internet after my long hiatus. I'm here to digitally hold the VTuber community against the wall by its throat and let you all know how being in this toxic relationship for the past 2 years makes me want to blast old school Melanie Martinez at 4 a.m. like I'm a troubled kid in high school again. Aside from a thinly veiled attempt
that is something I heard of a lot too, where the VTuber community just feels like high school all over again. Yeah, 100%. I see that so much within just the small fraction of the VTuber scene that I engage with. I think Zeka's covered one of her videos, or covered a video of hers. I wonder if it's the same one. I guess we'll find out.
To let my own voice be heard about how badly this community has further fucked up my mental health as well as others. I also genuinely want this to be a warning to anybody who has plans regarding to becoming a VTuber, because I wish I knew this shit like 2 years ago. So let's talk about it. Just to clear this up right off the bat, when I say VTuber community, I'm not talking about viewers who like watch our content. I'm talking about the community of virtual content creators, mainly on Twitter. I refuse.
Called it. Yeah, largely I think the dislike of the quote-unquote VTuber community that people tend to dislike is largely just a product of people on Twitter, regardless of it being VTubers, there are plenty of different subgenre or subsections of the internet, specifically on Twitter, that all end up dealing with the same kinds of stuff. It's just for a lot of people, the VTuber scene is kind of like their first real internet community, that like a broader internet community of creators that they're kind of engaging with. And well, you see a lot more of the drama with the creators because of channels that will not just the channels that talk about the drama, but there's a lot of people on Twitter who just want to perpetuate it, who want to get things going because drama is easy clicks and it gets your name out there.
To call it X, Elon can fucking fight me. All existing, talking, and posting in a bubble amongst themselves, interacting with each other more than the average viewer. I joined the VTuber community in October of 2021. That is 2 long fucking years of watching the mask slip. While my content creation has been...
That's interesting phrasing, watching the mask slip, because in the entire time that I've been engaging with the VTuber scene on Twitter, it's been like a year and a half now. It's like always been majority are creators interacting amongst themselves. It's kind of like LinkedIn for creators, where you can engage with that. You're more than like with Twitter, you're not going to be growing your platform from Twitter specifically unless you get like massive on Twitter, or like people just constantly talk about your content and that drives new people to check it out. Algorithm pushes it out because it starts having a bunch of new people checking you out. It snowballs. But largely, Twitter tends to stay on Twitter unless people bring it off of Twitter, and it's very hard to do that organically with fans. I do have people that pop up in my chat sometimes that also sometimes comment on my tweets, but largely I don't interact with viewers on Twitter. It's largely about interacting with other public figures. Yeah, well, I don't like Elon at all either, and I refuse to respect his platform. I've never respected Twitter. The content on Twitter is mostly VTuber trying to attract other VTuber. Yeah, like I noticed that within the first year of me doing that, of me engaging with the VTuber community scene, whatever, I was going along with the trends and whatnot, trying to get noticed, and then I realized the majority of interaction that I'm getting is with other creators, and the most other creators don't really have the time or energy to really dedicate to being dedicated viewers of me. So largely, I largely don't promote my content on Twitter. I just shitpost and talk shit on there. I let YouTube promote my content by uploading daily. That it's working.
On and off throughout the current length of my streaming career, due to health and schooling complications, I have always done my best to stay involved with the community itself, up until recently. They made me feel included. They were always boasting about how they wanted to shout out new VTubers and give them a platform, and how they supported minorities, and how they were boasting about the community was so open and caring, and, you know, all this amazing stuff. Just to realize that it was all fake, a ploy to use as many people as possible in order to climb the chaotic Jenga tower that it is to be a successful VTuber. Long story.
Yeah, I've also seen that within the VTuber supporter scene, where there's been a lot of people that are like, hey, I want to promote small creators, I'm happy to I'm happy to share my platform, and then they get like a decent amount of notoriety, and then they're like, well, I'm gonna step down as a VTuber supporter because reasons. It's shitty. And largely, you don't know the other people's intentions, so you can't even really call them out. It's it's a fucky wucky situation.
Very short, this community doesn't care
Welcome to the internet, sis. Sorry.
who they need to step on or step over to get more followers. Now you're probably sitting here going, but Zyla, that's the internet in general. And yeah, you're right.
How did she know? How did Zyla know?
But the reason why I'm pointing this out is because the VTuber community has itself up on a high horse. They're claiming to be the exception of this bad behavior when they're actually the example.
They're claiming to be the exception of it because they're like a new... It's a new thing that's still growing, so they don't... They're just now starting to have the track record of being not the best.
Get further into this, I do want it to be known that I will not be doing any name dropping, going into specifics on certain VTubers or events, for examples, because this is a community issue, and I don't want to single anybody out. So you will have to take all of this with a grain of salt. You know, this is my experience, yours might be different, that's understandable, whatever, we good? So let's just get into like the overall entitlement issue. I know it's been said before, but I do genuinely think a very large part of the community has this idea that if they spend a lot of money on a hat, bro. That if they spend a lot of money on a hot-ass VTuber model with big booba, they would be an instant success.
There is a very, it's so goddamn common in the VTuber scene that, like, they think all they need is eye-catching model and they hit the big time. When in reality, you need to be actually entertaining. You need to actually produce a kind of content that people want to stick around for. Completely tangentially and like unrelated to the point going on, I just can't stop really thinking about it. I love how expressive Zyla's model is. It's just awesome work. Well, Booba and VTuber is synonymous. Yeah, I'm not I'm not innocent there, especially with my new outfit.
You know, thousands of views, subs, diehard fans, and being set for life, even if they deny it. That's what they thought. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with wanting to do content creation as a job, but you need to be realistic about it. And a lot of VTubers just aren't. Between you and me, they seem a little bitter, actually. A little information about me, I personally became a VTuber because I was fucking lonely. I was in a dark place in my life, and I thought, you know, if I stream, I could force myself to play games, do art, the things I enjoy, while, you know, having some people around and not being alone.
There are many such cases, honestly. There are quite a few people that have gotten into VTubing for that same reason. Streaming in general, actually. Me, personally, I was attracted to the idea of commentary content for a while now. And I had started two and a half years ago, where I started as a face cam streamer. If you look back to my oldest videos, there are still some of them, like, I didn't really put out content the way I do now, but there are still some videos that show my face, and I don't care. I just like the idea of having an anime character as the avatar. It's just fun for me. I like the different outfit, the freedom of the outfits I can have. I like the freedom that you get with designing your own character. That's just how I do it. But having like a $20,000 model will garner attention, but it doesn't retain that attention unless you actually have the content to back it up. You've got to be that entertaining personality to match it, to match the model in order to keep that viewership. I mean, look at Shy Lily. She had a pretty decent model to start with and started gaining quite a big following, mostly because she's literally an entertaining person to listen to.
You know, a fun way to force myself to be productive again, and it worked for a while. Other people, however, it seemed that once they realized that expensive VTuber model doesn't always equal success right off the bat, they suddenly got real fucking angry at anybody who was doing well. We're talking genuinely wanting to see people fail or get hurt.
This is also common outside of the VTuber scene. You can see a whole lot of people that just simply enjoy watching prominent figures fall from grace. They don't really care who they are. Sometimes they just like seeing somebody who is perceived as a celebrity or extremely well known fall from the public eye. They just like watching train wrecks, essentially.
It almost felt like, to them, watching a bigger streamer fail meant that their audience would come down to the people with less viewers, when that's not how that works at all.
God, I wonder if anybody actually genuinely believed that, because that is some real Delulu thinking that, like, if I can cancel a bigger VTuber and get them off of the internet, that means there's more people for me to watch, or to watch me. And it's like literally not how it works. I kind of get the kernel of where it's coming from, that like as live streamers we are competing with one another of like, as we're live, one viewer can only watch one stream at a time, so to speak. Like, they can only really fully engage with one community at a time. So you are kind of competing with other creators while you're live. I personally don't deal with that competitive issue because, like, if the people, whoever wants to join my chat while I'm live, poggers. But the majority of people that watch me don't watch my live streams. They watch the videos I put out during the week. So, like, if I recognize somebody in my chat and then I see them in somebody else's chat, I'm not going to be like, hey, why are you supporting this other person? Why aren't you supporting me? It's like, I don't care. I don't put myself on that high of a pedestal. I don't think that I'm very much worth the time. I just like talking on the internet, and if people want to listen, they can listen. If they want to go watch somebody play games, they can go watch games. It's not a big deal, at least to me. But to some people, holy shit.
Still need a good personality and the drive to post content, you dumb. But really though, like, they actively hope that bad things will happen to bigger streamers. They'll go off on rants about how they don't think these people deserve the following they have. And, you know, usually the one bitching about how unfair it is being the one who doesn't post content.
That's some yandere behavior. Oh yeah, 100%. That is very yandere behavior. Oh, and she's about to get into the VTweeter stuff.
To other platforms or does anything to build their audience aside from bitching on Twitter. But
yeah, and right there, that's basically what people call VTweeters, who are aspiring VTubers, but they tend to put out more tweets than content. I also find it funny that there are people that call some specific VTubers VTweeters, even though those quote unquote VTweeters do a lot of streaming and put out a lot of videos. Sometimes when you hear the word VTweeter, it's just to say I don't like you.
You know, I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. I've seen people go as far as to cry that big corporate VTubers are all assholes and terrible because they don't bring on smaller streamers for collabs. You know.
I will say that's actually a safe bet for the corpo VTubers, the ones with regularly thousands of viewers. Because you easily can get a shit disturber to just ruin a stream, especially one that's backed by a fucking corporation that worries about advertisers.
Oh, just let random people you don't know onto your stream and just hope that they don't do or say anything to get you in trouble with, oh, I don't know, Twitch, your partners, Vtuber Corporation, your sponsors, you know. Yeah, you know, that sounds like a fantastic idea. I'm sure that won't backfire at all. I mean, let's just be honest with ourselves here. They usually stream with other big streamers because those people also have a lot to lose if they piss off the platforms they stream on. They can usually trust other big streamers to act professional, or at least what's considered professional in a VTuber setting, because for them, that is their job.
And a nice thing about Twitch is that if, say, one Twitch partner goes onto another Twitch partner's stream and Twitch partner A starts spouting like horribly racist shit onto Twitch partner B's stream, but Twitch partner B is pushing back against them and like cuts the call with them, if I'm not mistaken, Twitch would ban Twitch partner A for that stream, even though it was hosted on Twitch partner B's channel. So like, they're coming down on deplatforming bad people in some respects, anyways. But yeah, it's having other creators that have like established communities and stuff. It's a lot safer of a bet because in a sense they have something they could lose. Like they could really mess up on that other stream. They could push the boundaries too far and sometimes have the audience feel like they've been betrayed by their creator, and that would cause them to leave, and it can be a big problem. Especially if like it's one creator just trying to ruin a different creator's channel. That's pretty shitty behavior, and I don't think the majority of viewers would like that kind of stuff. Could just be my biases.
Besides, why the fuck would anybody want to hang out with some random person they don't know who's demanding, rather rudely, that they are somehow entitled to your time and space? I know I fucking wouldn't. Like, block, bye. Like, what? It's not being.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing where we're seen as anime characters, and therefore there's a small subsection of viewers that literally just see us as anime characters. So like we're not actual people behind the screen to them. We're just waifus in a super long, super convoluted drama.
Mean. It's being realistic and having boundaries. And besides, you all sitting here yelling about how mean and terrible big streamers are for not rolling out the red carpet for a person they don't know. Don't act like you're some innocent fucking victim. You look dumb. Because it is beyond clear that you only want to stream with these bigger creators to build a following for yourself off their back. You just want to use them. It genuinely does feel like every other person in this community has main character syndrome.
God, that's a big part of what holds me back from DMing a lot of bigger creators, because like I personally think that we could have a great and interesting conversation on stream, but I don't want to be seen as like just using them. I want to offer them something for their stream, and I personally think it's an insightful and thought-provoking conversation. It doesn't fly for everybody's content style. I also happen to talk about a lot of drama on my channel, and a lot of people don't want to talk about drama, so they kind of just don't want to associate with any of that, which is part of what keeps me from, reaching out to other creators for collabs. I gotta get over that. I gotta start reaching out a bit more. But full disclosure, I have reached out to quite a few people behind the scenes of like, hey, you want to talk on stream sometime about this topic you made a video on? I think we could have a great conversation. And then I just don't hear back, and I don't really talk about it because I'm not interested in drama mongering. I just like talking about public conversation topics.
And they somehow think they're entitled to other people's time, space, money, and energy. Speaking about that, let's talk about boundaries or the lack of them. This does tie into the last point, but it does need its own section because holy fuck. the amount of motherfuckers who think that the VTubing scene is some form of speed dating is insane.
Unironically, like, this last Tuesday, less than a week ago, and the day before, a friend of mine, a co-owner of the Discord server that I run, she got a DM that was, "Hey, will you take over my Steam account and play games? It's a kink thing. Fine if not." And then the next day, that same person DMs me with that offer. And then when I had actually saw that DM and like to check it out, it said you can no longer send messages. Turns out that person deleted it. It was a burner account of what the hell? Like, not to kink shame, but that is wacky. It is. And those types of DMs are not even uncommon. They're just, they're wacky.
Like, why are you here?
Because I like streaming.
What? Go on OkCupid and creep people out over there, okay?
Oh, right, that's what we were talking about.
At least they expect it there. And I'm not talking about parasocial viewers here. I'd actually prefer that over this bullshit. Imagine this, okay? You interact with another streamer, you get along, kind of hit it off, maybe you have a few calls and servers with other streamers you're both mutuals with, you know? Have a good time, and you finally decide, hey, you're pretty chill. I either consider you a friend.
Oh, I'm sorry, Maxie. I drop those kinds of jokes just sporadically throughout my content, so like, FYI, those are possible to happen. I just like, I'm a pretty open book. I like talking about stuff. What can I say?
Or at least a very somewhat trusted mutual. Let's do a collab together. Then suddenly, this person decides that that means you want to date them. You, a streamer, collabing with another streamer, basically the equivalent of a group project for your shitty 9-to-5, suddenly means to them that you want to date them. My voice died at that, it's so stupid. This is the kind of bullshit you would go to HR for. And then
oh my god, not naming names, but that's happened to me. Yay!
next thing you know, they're telling all your mutual.
I know it's badass on stream, but what's your Discord? You can do !Discord. I think you set that up, right, Hero?
Friends. You got other VTubers feed into their delusion, and they won't take no for a fucking answer because,
Yay.
Oh, but we get along so well. Everyone thinks it'd be so great together. But you don't want to lose a friend, or you don't want to cause drama, and you're thinking, this is just a misunderstanding. They don't mean any harm by this. We'll just talk it out. It's fine. So you try to be civil about it. It keeps going downhill for 3 fucking months until it gets so uncomfortable and toxic that you just cut them off completely. And now suddenly, you're the bad guy. And your personal issues with somebody who wouldn't take no for a fucking answer is suddenly posted all over Twitter. People are, for some reason, demanding you explain to them why you said no. Alright, then you do that, okay? 6 more times in 8 months, okay? Doesn't sound fun, right? And for full transparency, this is not my personal experience, but the frequency that I've watched this happen in my own circle and the community at large is, what's the word?
Scary, shocking, horrifying, enlightening. I could go on.
Disgusting. And this bullshit with people trying to turn every person they stream with into a dating sim, then going all nice girl / guy TM on them, genuinely does get to the point where it's harassment in some cases. And I'm bringing this up because this is almost normal in the community. It happens constantly, and it's just looked at as normal.
Yeah, I find it extremely weird that there is, I get that a lot of creators are also lonely individuals and they want to connect with people with shared experiences. But how can you get into the mindset that collabing with somebody means they're romantically interested? Like, what the fuck?
I don't know about you, but I'm here to make content. not deal with this fucking preschool drama. The lack of boundaries doesn't end with that. Love bombing's a huge issue in this community. I never once went into any interaction with the idea of using someone. Every person that I've called a friend, I do genuinely see them as friends, even if we don't communicate anymore. So when I found out just how common it was in this community to just tell people what they want to hear, of course we're friends, I love you, you're like family to me, just to disappear and use people as stepping stones or throw them under the bus the second
Or clip you out of context and lie about you to 50,000 people.
they're no longer convenient, broke my fucking heart. Because there's some genuinely great people here. I have never seen this be such a constant issue in any other community I've been in aside from VTubing. And this shit's a two-way street. You aren't going to be super close or even friends with every single person you collab with. That's just how it is. It's a job for a lot of people. And a lot of people need to learn that if someone doesn't want to interact with you further than a work relationship, you need to fucking respect that. But you
Truth. Keep cooking, Sila. Keep cooking.
can't just pretend to be someone's friend either. It is a very normal and well-known occurrence in this community that people are just gonna, befriend each other, let them open up, just to leverage what they can use against them later on. Both sides are very shitty. Honesty is a very unknown concept in the Underdark known as the Vtuber Community. Motherfuckers got me rolling for insight 5 times a day. Okay, listen. I joke about it here and there, but I don't
I'm curious what she has to say, but that title card rubs me the wrong way.
make it a big part of my content, so I'm saying this right now, okay? I'm a woman kisser, okay?
Respect.
So I'm gonna talk about this. And, I'm not gonna lie, for the first half a year or so, I felt pretty safe as an LGBT girly in the VTuber community. That is until some mutuals of mine and myself started to notice a few fucky-wucky things going on. It became very apparent that what seemed like support started to stink bad. Kind of like that stack of dishes in your depression room. We started
Don't stare at me like that. I cleaned that room.
to notice a very large amount of people that only had something to say about minority or world issues as long as it was trending, and they could attach a bunch of hashtags to it, using their minority mutuals or friends as clickbait for clout during months dedicated to a certain group, only to then use those same posts to cover up their own bad behavior later on. No, Twitter officer, I can't be a bad person. I tweeted on November 15th of 2022 that homophobia is bad. Therefore, anything I did or said afterwards doesn't count. The part that really pisses me
Okay, I will say that going into this, I was going into this specific section, I was getting a bit of yikes flags, but hearing her out, yeah, I definitely see where she's coming from. Though if you're engaged with politics, you're always going to be talking about the trending thing, and yes, I do it for clout, but and yes, definitely there are a lot of people that will performatively engage with it in order to pretend they're not as bad as they actually are. But that's the internet. Yay. It's kind of part and parcel with any sort of public platform.
off though is the constant habit of talking over minorities and telling us what we should be upset about. Now, this has been brought up with other communities in VTubing, but I'm only going to speak on the side of LGBT here because it's not my place to speak about the race issues since I'm... Well, yeah, anyways. There have
Do you get it? Do you guys get it? She's what?
been numerous occasions now where an issue involving the LGBT community has come up with a streamer doing or saying something shitty. And while I do genuinely believe that terrible behavior should be called out, that's not what this is anymore. I have seen so many times now, someone will get accused of being an asshat, they provide evidence against it, and yet the VTubing community just pretends they don't see the evidence. If I don't look at it, it doesn't exist. This post can't bother me because I can't read. That kind of bullshit.
Yeah, people can't read. That's extremely common within the VTuber scene. Oh my god. And yeah, a lot of this also has to do with people just kind of already having their biases against other creators, or the creators that they just don't like. And even if they make a claim and then you're able to counteract that claim, they won't address it. They'll just move on to the next bad thing because they've already arrived at their conclusion that this person is bad. Therefore, I only care about evidence that proves my point. It's not about looking at the broader situation, the broader context. It's about disliking somebody you dislike.
Because why admit that you might be wrong when you can just feed into the mass rage?
Maxie, I was making a joke that broadly people don't read in a platform that's like based on text or like based on chatters. Like literally, you have to be able to read. It's a joke that people don't read what they don't want to read. Therefore, I say they can't read.
And get easy followers from it. Or even worse, there have been times where members of the LGBT community itself will say, hey, you know, it's okay, we don't think it's offensive, it's not that big a deal, guys. And then suddenly we're being turned on by the people who apparently care about us so much while they're sitting over there saying,
yeah, like like you can say something along the lines of, hey guys, it's not actually directly harmful to play Hogwarts Legacy, and you will be called a pick-me, or you would have been called a pick-me over that. But largely, the Hogwarts Legacy discourse is just dead now.
sending death threats in the name of our community, which doesn't help, okay? That makes shit fucking worse. You aren't helping us, but that doesn't matter because the point of you doing this isn't because you want to help, is it? And while a lot of people...
No, it's not about people wanting to help. I think it's about people wanting to express built up anger regarding outside sources, like their life sucks and they can't really have any control over that, so they want to seek control in the ways that they can feel, in the ways that they can feel some sort of measure of power, and people feel that power when they can, quote unquote, cancel bigger creators. In this instance, VTubers. It is specifically VTubers they don't like.
acting like this in the community that I've noticed are not LGBT. There are definitely LGBT people who jump on this, and I want to say something directly to you, okay? Everything else aside real fast. I get it. I understand. The world is shitty for us right now, especially for our trans friends and family. People online
Thank you.
can try to ignore it or say that we're overreacting, but 140 anti-trans bills is not something we're exaggerating. Rising violence and homicide against people just trying to live their lives is very real.
Yeah, positive side, we did get justice for Brianna J, so that's great.
You have a right to be upset. You should be upset. I am too. But the issue here is that misdirecting it is causing more harm than good for everyone involved. And I do really think that's what it is. I think that the reason why you're joining in on this anger with people who are using our community for clout and rage bait is because you're scared. You are rightfully scared and angry, but you don't have the ability to direct that at people who are actually causing the harm. So it's getting taken out on a different outlet. It's getting taken out on people who have nothing to do with the shitty decisions being done. It's getting taken out on people playing certain video games or watching shows or listening to certain music. The world
Literally hitting that nail on the head. 10 out of 10. No points to add to that. Just let Zyla cook. Why am I stopping her?
is shitty. People need to have a little bit of ignorance to enjoy things and not be depressed constantly. And that's okay. As long as someone is self-aware and they're not actively making excuses for bad behavior, that's fine. It is not the be-all tell-all to decide if someone's a good person or not. I mean, Disney was an absolute piece of shit, but I'm not going to sit here and accuse someone who went to Disneyland for a vacation that they agree with all of his old opinions. Nor am I.
God, thank you. So many people just want to tangentially accuse people of being bad for supporting a thing that they've already decided was bad. Therefore, any support of that thing can only come from bad people. It's just essentialist thinking, and it just makes life worse for everybody. It doesn't address the actual underlying problems. It just makes individuals feel bad for in reality trying to do what they just want to do. Some people just want to talk about politics. Some people just want to talk about the current atrocity in the world. More power to them. Do what you want with your content. I don't care that much. That said, there's I forget where I was going with this, so we're just going to continue.
I'm gonna stop having a deep love for the movies that I grew up with. I can point out and admit that they're real shitty in some cases, but watching
Oh yeah, like Ace Ventura. It was a pretty funny movie until the end.
them doesn't mean that I condone the assholes who made them. And again, the most viewed videos or posts that I have personally seen that are flat out going, you can't play this game or watch this movie or listen to this music because that'll make you a bigot. They're not usually LGBT people. They're
yeah, there's a lot of quote unquote allies who will say that stuff to like try to performatively protect people where it doesn't really help. Calling for the boycotts and shit of like international franchises on Twitter will never do anything for it. You're not going to build up enough of a boycott to stop fucking Star Wars, for example.
quote unquote allies, and it grinds my fucking gears. Not only do
Am I a bad person for trying to accept everyone, even with completely different opinions, and helping everyone even if they're controversial? Or is it bad helping someone who mentally hates helping someone mentally who's anti-LGBT not support? Okay, so here's my opinion. Even if somebody actively hates me, a trans woman, I would still help them however I can, because that's just kind of in my nature. I want to, if somebody is down on their luck and I have an extra burger or whatever, and they're like, hey, can you get me something? Here, you want this burger? That's just part of who I am. But then there are people that would outright refuse every little bit. I can't really force them to take my support, but I don't think it's inherently a bad thing to support a bigoted person who is down on their luck. In fact, it could actually be one of the inciting incidents that gets them away from their bigotry if they see just unbridled generosity from the people who they typically thought were the devil or whatever. Okay, this is kind of tangential, but I used to work with a one-on-one in a door building company. Like, we would make custom doors, so to speak. The rest of the factory would produce the mass-produced ones that just went out on the production line, but we would do the specific orders, just me and this one other guy. And it turns out this one other guy was a Trump supporter. And, well, I like talking about politics, and I am not a Trump supporter. So we would talk quite a bit. And I was actually one of the few reasons why he actually started moving away from liking Trump, because I pointed out why Trump was bad in my own words without getting heated about it, without attacking that guy directly, kind of thing. So you can help to de-radicalize people like that by supporting them, by being there for them and being a non-judgmental voice when they are in need of help. But it is not necessarily any individual's, what's the word? it's nobody's specific job to de-radicalize people. It's a hard thing to do, and I think it is worth doing, but not every individual is required to do that. There are multiple reasons why people might not want to engage with others who are explicitly anti-LGBTQ+. But yeah, that's largely my thoughts on that.
These rage tweeters not give a flying fuck about us or our community, but they're just giving actual bigots a bigger fucking target. Okay, we all...
Okay, yeah, that's true. What she was saying there about how some people just doing it performatively, they do it in the bad ways, and then that gets picked up by the big, larger, bigoted accounts that want any sort of ammunition to hate the people they already hate.
All knew that this was coming. Again, this can technically tie into all the other points I've made, but this does need its own subsection like the rest of them, because what the flying fuck, you guys? I have been on the internet for a lot longer than I probably should have been. I have been in countless communities. I've made art and content for other fandoms, groups, websites. I've been everywhere. I was on Tumblr during the Sonic Social Justice era.
Oh, good lord.
Watch that all go down, and the FNAF artist who shall not be named. I have seen shit, yet I have never seen another community that tears itself apart from the inside out to the extent that I've seen the VTuber community do, all while being so fucking giddy about it. Now,
God, like, online leftist Twitter has this problem too, but I do kind of think it's worse in the VTuber scene. I can't really put my tongue on it, but it's bad. It's bad. People love to tear down anime characters, and they just dance over the graves.
You may have heard the term VTweeter before. VTubers who hardly stream and spend all of their time on Twitter waiting with foam at the mouth to grab any piece of drama they can. And like I said before, the point of them doing this is jump on any issue or drama that's being talked about so they can make a post going, well, I would never do that. Look at me. I'm such a good person. You should follow me. And this type of clout chasing got dangerous really fast because it went from calling out legitimate, terrible behavior and abuse to ruining people's lives over minor personal issues for like 5 extra followers. I have seen on more occasions, and I have fingers on my hands at this point, situations where a VTuber has been accused of something, and no matter what the situation is, no matter how big or small it is, people not only instantly believe it without needing any evidence at all, but treat the issue as if the streamer flat out fucking killed someone.
Swear to God, like 9 times out of 10, out of all the internet dramas I've looked into, 9 times out of 10, fucking, it was petty shit, a molehill that got made into a mountain because it got made public when it didn't need to be. And people will just tend to jump on the first bandwagon they see that's getting prominence, and they ride or die. I wish there was something we could legitimately do about it, but all I can think to really do right now is raise advocacy, encourage critical thinking among people. Like when I go into dramas on this channel, I don't really I try not to see one side of the thing. I try to see both sides of where this drama is coming from, and I try my best to give a reasoned response to it. But that's not everyone.
Regardless of the severity of it. Death threats to them, their family, their friends, harassment, doxing, you fucking name it. I recall one situation where that started happening to somebody over being accused of stealing a design from someone simply for having similar color palettes. For fuck's sake.
Oh my god, that happens so goddamn much in the VTuber scene. Shut up about similar color palettes. Seriously.
You create this type of environment where you want to be in the majority's favor so that you can get easy followers, you need to be mad with them, regardless if you think the issue deserves the amount of backlash it's getting or not. That community is no longer safe. They will turn on you in an instant, no questions asked. Your friend can make up a lie about you because you piss them off on a random Tuesday, and suddenly you're the next target. Hey,
that's happened to somebody on this stream.
If you know what's being said isn't true, nothing that you say or show them will matter because they've already decided that you're in the wrong.
Nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
I agree that there are terrible people online who need to be called out for their bullshit, mainly to make other would-be victims aware, but that's not what this is anymore. There is one incident that sticks out of my mind about this, and I'm sorry, but this is going to be vague. I debated on it for a while, but I finally decided that I wasn't going to drag specific people into this for many reasons. So again, grain of salt. A rather large VTuber was accused of doing something pretty fucking shitty a few months back. Something that, when I first heard about it, I was upset. I admit that I believed it at first because of just how upset everyone was. And I was sad that another big streamer was copying a jackass, because I genuinely don't understand why it's so hard to just not be terrible, you know? But then said streamer came back with proof that they didn't do what they were being accused of. Proof that you could personally check, by the way. Proof I did personally check, by the way. And they were telling the truth. And that's great. It was a misunderstanding and there isn't another jackass in the community. That's great. That's a good thing, right?
Except here's the thing. Anytime that creator who has been called out and then exonerated themselves, like, honest, full transparency, I have no idea who the fuck she's talking about, but any future controversy or any part of drama that creator gets into again, this will all be brought back up as if the creator had never apologized in the first place, or they didn't even apologize, they exonerated themselves, and it'll just keep repeating. The internet never forgets, except when they want to. And they don't want to forget the people they hate.
And not really. Not only did the Vtuber community on Twitter just completely ignore the proof, they pretended it just flat out didn't exist so that they could stay mad. Or even more asinine, people claimed that the proof didn't matter. I even watched someone go as far as to just flat out make up random quotes the streamer never said, that the community on Twitter would then share around because no one bothers to check their fucking sources.
Yeah, that is one thing that really worries me about what's it? AI voice. Okay, we're almost at the end there. Like AI voice, I worry about. I wouldn't be surprised if it's already happening where people make AI voice clips of the creators they hate and then spread that around to just destroy their reputation. And since, as Zyla said, people don't check their fucking sources, their reputation just goes down the drain over something they never even did. What's your source? Tomato.
But that's the game. They don't check their sources because they don't care. They ignore the evidence because they want to. They pick whichever side helps them get more followers at the moment, not who's actually in the right. The lack of morals disgust me to no fucking end. So.
Okay. She is going to be giving her conclusion right here, and I encourage you all to check it out. I don't want to redo 100% of the video. It's just been so engaging for me to keep watching this because she makes a lot of good points. That is Zyla Gal. Check her out on the YouTubes. But yeah, I definitely see why a shit ton of people just don't really want to engage with the VTuber scene, especially with the way trends are going in the VTuber scene. Literally, people continuously compare the VTuber scene to high school, and oh my god, it just it's more and more accurate by the day, by the week. Good lord, I am half tempted to write a parody song cover of High School Never Ends by Bowling for Soup, but write it name dropping a shit ton of VTubers because I think it would be funny. But yeah, I definitely see why People want to disassociate themselves from the VTuber scene. I get where they're coming from with that, but I personally am going to keep associating, I guess, with the VTuber scene, because with all the problems of the community or of the scene that I see, how can you really change it if you're not actually trying to change it from the inside? Like, you can commentate on it publicly, but most of those criticisms you make of it won't really be reaching the people that you're trying to reach with them. And if I'm... if I am kind of distancing myself, they're not going to listen. If I do kind of... if I do engage with the community broadly, I get the feeling that my voice will carry a bit more weight. That's kind of why I stick with the VTuber shtick anyways. Thanks for watching. Like it if you like it, dislike if you didn't. Let me know in the comments why you think I'm wrong. Check out the community on Discord. And remember, if you can't be the sharpest tool in the shed, you can always be the hoe.